And we are good. So thank you so much, Troy, for taking the time to meet with me. Like we talked about a little bit before, you are the runner of the DIY Do It Yourself World YouTube channel, and you're also in the process of setting up your own video sharing community, as you can see behind you.
Yeah.
Do you want to
It's,
just talk a little bit about how you got started in the DIY World channel, what prompted you to start that, and how you got where you are now?
yeah, no problem. You probably see my little one right here checking it out. um, well, I started out, I lost everything in 2013, and I moved into a camper in a blizzard. And I suffered miserably and made some videos, and everybody loved it. They wanted to see if I was going to survive or not. And the common thing was, what's Troy going to do tomorrow? And I mean, it was always random and chaotic and near death experience, and it was great. And it's what put me on the map. So 2017, I knew YouTube was doing something. I just sensed something was off and something was not going to be okay. I just somehow knew it. And trolls were running rampant, and harassment was crazy. I mean, people were being there was just no peace. It was really a mess. So I formed DIY Tube to fill the gap. And then, not long after I formed DIY Tube, it was February of 2018, YouTube cut hundreds of thousands of smaller channels out entirely. Just said, we don't need you anymore, and we're not going to pay you anymore. And then they set their standards for earning money to a very high level. And I have 3 channels on YouTube, and one of them I had worked very hard to build up, and it was like a slap in the face. Now we're going to take it away from you. And that just confirmed the need for a new community. And we have plans for revenue sharing in the future, but right now we reward members when they can use the rewards for upgrades on the site. So, and I'm seeing a lot of great things said about the site because people are upset with YouTube. I mean,
Totally.
they hurt us bad. They hurt people.
Totally understand.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm sure, not even people that go on there to watch the videos may not even realize what is happening with the smaller channels, and they're not getting so much as a chance. But do you want to talk a little bit about the content that you share? Maybe people that don't quite
Yeah.
know what your channel's about.
Yeah, well, I have 3 channels, but it started out the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. And the idea was to show people how to get off the grid on a budget. And fortunately, at that time, I then had a camper, which I was setting up for off-grid living, and which then became my home by force. But now it's become the main channel is about homesteading, off-grid living, and self-sufficiency. And then I branched off my tactical and outdoor skills is on my survival and tactical channel. And then I further branched off my electronics because I also do that. So right now we're running a series to teach people how to get off the grid for $5,000, how to get their whole home off the grid.
Wow.
And that's the main goal of the channel.
And what have you personally experienced with quote unquote going off the grid and becoming self-reliant? What are some benefits you've seen in your personal life? And what are the outcomes of making those decisions?
Peace, freedom, and reduced bills. I mean, the homesteading is a beautiful lifestyle. It's very peaceful. You're in charge of your own life, and you're responsible for everything. You get up in the morning, you collect eggs from the chickens that you care for, and you are responsible for your own energy. So, it's not like you just flip on a switch and it comes, and you don't worry about a thing. You know where your meat comes from because you kill it. You know where your electricity comes from because you make it. I mean, you learn about everything. And like our daughter, she is going to have an advantage over everybody else. She grows up with animals and outdoors and plays in the dirt. It's just natural, good way of living. So, originally it was to save money, but now it's an obsession. It's people who go off the grid become obsessed with it. Like, how can I reduce my cost even more? How can I save even more energy? What can I do? Like, the devices, like what we're going to talk about here in a bit, it sounds funny. Although I've got these massive solar panels at home, I use these little devices to save more, for the big stuff. So it's fun.
Yeah, do you want to expand maybe a little bit more? Like you said, you're looking to conserve energy and create your own electricity, and you started talking about the solar panels. Do you want to talk about that a little bit more?
Well, the solar panels, we have 1,600 watts of solar, and for an average house, it's not very much. So we got rid of the microwave, the toaster oven, the coffee maker, and had to reduce what we need on a daily basis. Actually, when I first went off the grid, I converted everything to laptops. The first thing I did is I got a laptop because it uses less power. And everything is reducing costs. And then I just charged my cell phone on this, which you guys are obviously quite familiar with. And I use these things because the less I draw off the main solar panels, the more I have for household living. And although it's not much, right, but every little bit counts when you're off the grid. And these devices are portable, which is convenient. So, and plus, I honestly, I charged my cell phone with this today because it's the fastest charging thing I have on hand. That's no joke. I literally use this because it charged my phone in half an hour from 30% to 100% in half an hour. And that's literally why, that's the truth.
Wow.
So that is an impressive little thing. And I use it daily.
That's astounding to hear, especially when it's the fastest charging device you have.
Yeah, it is.
What have been, you mentioned having to get rid of your coffee maker and your microwave. Those are not easy appliances, I'm sure, to give up. What have you had to sacrifice or change in your daily routines with having to pass?
Very valuable. This is black gold. All right. I always say this is what runs the internet. Without this, there's no work, no accomplishment. Got rid of the coffee machine and I put a filter on here, which is just like the filter on your coffee maker, but it's reusable. Put your coffee grounds in and put hot boiling water in and you got a cup of coffee.
There you go.
There's just ways that you can get rid of the power-hungry appliances. Somebody ridiculed me one day and said, well, how are you going to serve a whole crowd of people with a single cup? I said, put more coffee grounds in it and brew a pot instead. Yeah. It's easy. People they can't think outside the box. They're confined to these normal this way of thinking. Like, I got to turn on a machine if I want to serve a group of people. No, you don't. There's different ways of thinking. It was a different lifestyle.
Totally kind of agree with that and understand it. What other, so you mentioned the Patriot Power Cell. What other solar gadgets or solar devices do you see yourself using?
Well, I use my folding solar panels a lot. And like when the sun's out, I'll take we have portable USB powered light sticks. And I use a lot of portable power in the house just because for one thing, I'm more conservative of energy, and I'm still teaching my wife, but she likes to leave the lights on in the room. And so if you leave a portable device on and the battery goes out, it's like, charge it up tomorrow, right? But if you leave the lights on in the house, you're burning energy, right? So we use the portable devices, and it's just convenient. And when the sun shines, you take them out and you charge them on the portable solar panels because they're there. And I really do use them.
Very cool. Very cool. And talking a little bit more specifically to the Patriot Power Cell, how useful has it been taking basically this small mini generator or source of power with you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I do carry it every day, like I said, because for one, it's the fastest thing I got for my cell phone charger. It's faster than my wall charger, believe it or not. I literally went from 30% to 100% in like a half hour, and I was on the phone at the time. Like the whole time. I was on the phone the whole time. And I've been, it's still 95%. And I've been using the phone all morning. So that's convenient. And then I've done some serious math calculations on this. I didn't do this just for this video. I have this because I'm going to do a full review. I figured that with average use, the if you use this and charge my cell phone once today, and I put it out in the sunlight, it'll recharge what I used that day using a solar panel. Now, you can't drain this all the way and expect it to recharge in a single day, and that's where people complain. They're like, yeah, it's too weak, it doesn't work. No, it isn't. If you use it under normal daily use, that's going to recharge it fine. And that's what I'm going to prove and show on video. Because I've seen that argument again and again and again with these solar-powered devices. You don't drain it all the way. On an average day, you charge your phone up and then you recharge the device. You don't wait until this is empty and expect it to recharge overnight. It isn't going to happen. So, I take it out real-world use. I take it with me. I use the light occasionally. And when we get camping, that's probably going to go with me because it's convenient. I've got my battery pack, I got the light, and all in one. So the convenience of it. Plus, you throw it out in the sun and charge it. And that's, for us, that's important. We take tents, but we go rustic. We don't go and use power out there. Even when we're camping, we don't use the grid. Why? We don't need it.
That's great. I think that's a great way to go about camping as well. You really can connect back to nature, as you would say. It sounds, I know that the Patriot Power Cell is pretty durable too. So even if you drop it or end up splashing water on it,
no problem. I will put this to the test. I'm serious.
Nice. We're definitely looking forward to that. What advice would you have to say to someone who maybe isn't sure? Maybe solar power to them is a new topic, or they're not sure what the first step is to take to start going off the grid.
Rephrase that maybe?
Yeah. So maybe there's someone who just found out about they're able to access solar panels, or maybe the Patriot Power Cell they came across, and they're just not sure about solar energy themselves. Maybe it's something that they just haven't been around before or aren't as well, and just don't have as much knowledge about it.
Oh, then definitely. Then I am advising people get a small device with a battery so they can charge it, because it has a smart charger in it. And I'm only holding this. I've got devices all over the place, but this happens to be right here in my hand. The idea is it has its own battery. It has its own smart charger, so you can't over discharge it and wreck the battery. You can't overcharge it and wreck the battery. So I'm advising people get a small device and get USB LED lights to plug into this thing. And then they can learn about going off the grid. They can learn how long it takes to recharge that battery after an average day of use using the lights at night. They can run their cell phone, charge their cell phone on this, and run their USB lights at night. And then, get the excitement and feel of off-grid living without the expense of it and without the danger of destroying the $1,000 of batteries if you make a mistake. Because this can't be destroyed, because it's got the circuitry inside to protect it. And that's exactly what I'm teaching people in my video series. Start with this stuff, move yourself on to the real deal, because it's foolproof.
Yeah, I definitely would have to agree with you. That's sounds like almost a no-brainer and an easy step to take.
Mm-hmm.
And let's maybe talk about a little bit of food. You were mentioning how you can farm your own chicken eggs and you kill your own meat. What are some things that you have been able to go without and you don't even think twice about anymore?
Right. I don't know. I've been in such a habit of more natural living. Like I don't like medicine. I don't go to the doctor unless there's an absolute emergency. I had military training though too, so I broke my rib and I patched myself up and I keep on going. I just don't use doctors. We try to do everything we can on the homestead. We try to raise as much food we can. I can't say that there's anything I miss or I find awkward because I'm so used to it. Mm-hmm. It's just we've changed so much. You know what's convenient? When I go to a hotel and I run the hot shower for 30 minutes. Oh, I love it. But you don't do that when you're trying to save energy. Okay, that's the one thing that I really miss. A long hot shower with no guilt. Mm. Right, you got to be sparing. Everything costs. Mm-hmm. Everything costs. So you don't just run it.
Totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot shower is one of the most relaxing things probably. But
Yeah.
hey, if it keeps
I mean, we got hot and cold running water,
mm-hmm.
but we just got to be sparing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Understood. And you mentioned, I didn't realize that you were in the military. Do you want to talk? Are you comfortable talking about that for a little bit?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
What branch were you in? How long did you serve? What were your main duties?
I served 4 years. I was a tank driver, and I got to knock down trees and plow through stuff and break things, and it was fun. It was exhausting, and honestly, it was the most. It was the most pain, the most sweat, the most suffering I ever went through in my life up to that time, and I don't regret a minute of it. It made me a man. When I was in school, I was bullied, and so I was shy, and I'd walk along the hallway, right along the edge of the wall, looking down at my feet, so nobody bothered me, and I wouldn't be able to talk to you like I do now, and I thank the military for that. It made me who I am today. Like I said, I suffered the worst, but it changes you. It really turns you around. It makes you a leader. Well, so that's good.
Thank you so much for your service. I am definitely so grateful, and getting the opportunity to talk with veterans is one of the joys I love about this job, and also just how our company supports them. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks.
Have you had the chance to, since we're on this military topic, I know, were you eating MREs in the military?
Oh, yeah. I love them.
Yeah.
I don't know why people complain. I was always collecting everybody's stuff. I ate and ate and ate. Oh, yeah.
Has that transferred any skills for you to prepare food now with your homestead and off-grid living?
Before I got married, it was horrible. I'd open up a can of food and eat it cold out of the can, lick the spoon off, and wipe it on my shirt and call it good. That was my life. I just got so used to cold food, I just didn't care anymore. I just didn't care. I just got used to it. Now, of course, home-cooked meals are nice. But we try to preserve our own foods. That's one of the things, one of our goals is to become self-sufficient. We try to grow enough chickens to put away in a freezer for the entire year. We haven't got to that goal yet. We did 45 birds last year, and it wasn't enough. Wow. And we go through 2 deer by February each year. It's not enough, so we got to get some more deer. We went fishing a lot last year, and we did catch a lot of fish. I bought a boat so we could get out and get them. Shore fishing is just no good. We got a boat, and I actually went out and we loaded enough. And we're still have enough to fish. And here's spring. Well, we still have ice on the lakes here, but I'm very satisfied with that. And vegetables, we're nowhere near where we want to be because it's sandy soil, and we're still building it up. We still have, though, tomato sauce that we put away our own ketchup. I mean, it's pretty cool. We try to get everything ourselves.
Wow.
So
that's pretty awesome. It's astounding to hear how much you can, not only yourselves, but just anyone you can live off the land, and it really brings to light how much we rely on other people.
Yeah.
You talked about a little bit about gardening and growing your own vegetables. What have you found to be successful with the soil that you do have?
Well, we're learning. Kale grows great here because it's cold. We get a lot of cold, freezing nights. Kale is good. It's hard. It's really hard. The corn did well last year, so we're going to put in more corn. But our sensitive plants, we're going to have to put in a greenhouse. Our herbs are growing great. We have a lot of herbs. But things like tomatoes and peppers, we're having a hard time because we have freezing nights even in summer because we're up north a bit. So we're learning. We're learning a lot.
Nice. That's it's a cool process to go through, I'm sure, is to figure out what's working and what doesn't work for you guys. And do you guys have a quote-unquote go bag and something that...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Be a hypocrite if I didn't.
I
got
go ahead.
A portable one in the car, always. And my hip pouch is under the seat. I usually take it if I leave the car and I'm not, right next to the car. That goes on me. So, because I got stuck in the woods one time and on my own land, I was quite embarrassed. and I got lost. And well, I was on 56 acres behind another 40 acres,
Wow.
surrounded by nature. I mean, there was nothing out there, and I got lost in my own land, and I was quite embarrassed. And it got to be dark and cold, and there were coyotes around, and I had nothing on me, and I felt like a total idiot. All right, and from that day on, I never ever leave without a small hip bag, just a little pouch that carries all my needs, fire starting and whatever. And we both have major bug out bags, which we use heavily. And we practice ultralight backpacking. We go out, and our shelter is a tarp. And since the baby, we haven't been able to do so. Because, I mean, you just can't take a baby ultralight backpacking. But next year or so, we'll be able to start doing that again with her. But we would go out, and we would get a topographic map. We'd print off the internet. We'd scout out an area that had low traffic. We'd find some scummy little pond somewhere and camp by it and filter the water and drink it. Wow. And that stuff, I'll tell you, can be quite disgusting. Mm-hmm. But that's what we did for training.
Wow. That's great. I mean, just hearing it's kind of like you're putting yourself through a drill a little bit, but
yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yes.
What would you say is essential for someone to have in their personal go or hip bag?
First thing is, there's a lot of top things. That fire starting is, we live in a colder climate, so fire starting is important. Water filtration and shelter. You can go without food for quite a while, and if you have the knowledge, you can eat a lot of stuff in nature. I mean, like, you can eat pine tree bark. You can eat the inner bark of pine trees. And Indians, American natives, I should say, survived off that at times.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, what food would you tell someone to use? Maybe they don't quite know as much as you do, or they are not used to living off the land necessarily.
Freeze dried as much as you can carry. Because that's your comfort item, and that's going to keep you. If your morals drop, you're going to die. You got to be comfortable, and happiness is important. Some little snacks and some happy little items that'll make you feel good. Tea, coffee. I never go without coffee. Even my little hip bag has coffee. Wow. I'd never ever leave with. I'm not joking. That's valuable. And when you're out there in the miserable, snowing mountain, and you're freezing to death, and you're wet, and you're miserable, and you have a cup of coffee, it just makes all the difference.
And how big of a priority is it to you to always keep this go bag stocked, to always just feel prepared and have that peace of mind?
I've been through 3 hurricanes and 2 forest fires when I lived in New York, and multiple blizzards. Like, one time, my friend and I were up in the mountains camping in my truck camper, and we almost died coming down the mountain because a blizzard came up that night, and the thing was running out of control. We're sliding down the mountain, and I thought we were going to die. We got back, and nobody had power. I just stayed in my camper. I had solar panels, I had heat, I had everything I needed. I stayed right there, and everybody else suffered in their homes. I felt guilty because they were suffering. It was October, we had a blizzard, and they were miserable. And I was cozy and comfortable, and everybody in the city in the town area was suffering. 2 forest fires that came within 5 miles of my house, and it makes you think. If you don't have that bug out bag and the fire comes and the police tell you go now, they don't play around. They're going to kick you out now. Mm-hmm. And the hurricanes wiped out power for 2 weeks in New York, where we were. And you got food rations, you've got your heat, you've got your comfort items, you've got your portable light source, you've got everything you need. I mean, I live in relative comfort when others are suffering. And I hate to say it, but I'm happy for it that I do. I hate to see them suffer, but it's their choice. They mock me now. And the very same people are like knocking on my door asking for help later.
It definitely sounds like you've been ahead of the game with the solar power and sourcing your own energy. And it definitely sounds like solar power can do just about anything our man-given power can do.
It takes a lot. I did a interview with a guy last year that had, I think, 25,000 watts of solar panels. Wow. I mean, 25 kilowatts an hour, continuous. Wow. And he had energy to waste. We only have 1,600, and I'd like to double that this year. But you have to adjust your lifestyle to match what you have. So it requires some. You have to give up some things in the beginning.
Totally. I can totally understand that. As you do with any altering life change, you would say.
Yeah.
Well, you've done. Thank you so much for taking the time and chatting with me. You've answered so many questions, and as well as expanded my knowledge on off-grid living and what are the steps to take to be very self-reliant. I'm not sure if you have any questions for me about 4Patriots.
I get a lot of emails from you guys, so I have a lot of stuff. I see that you got some survival foods. I'm probably going to see about trying that out one day because I am into the survival and the preparedness. And I'm waiting to see as you come up with more products. Obviously, the flashlight you got is pretty cool. So, I'm obviously you guys put out a lot of information, so I don't have any questions. You guys are blasting me with information all the time. There's a lot.
Great. Sounds like we're doing our job then.
Yeah.
Give me just one moment. I just want to go ahead and pause this recording.